Impact leadership. What does it mean to wake up each day knowing your work, effort, and passion is being transformed into creating change that makes a difference in your business, organization, community, and your own life experience? And it can be hard to stay on track when at times the winds do not blow in your direction. But you persevere, one step forward at a time, creating something better. This is fulfillment in action. And this is Passion for Impact. Educating, empowering, and elevating social consciousness in people, business, and teams, one inspiring conversation at a time. Passion for Impact is brought to you by Rock Your Leadership. We train leaders on how to grow success, to drive change, and to not burn out. Visit passionigniter.ca for more details.
This is the Passion for Impact podcast with speaker, trainer, and socially conscious advocate Trish Miltimore.
Well, it is the beginning of a brand new year, so I thought with Passion for Impact, we could do something a little bit different, something that has not been done before. Welcome to our first episode in 2023 featuring a co-host. Yeah, something a little bit different. In the past, a couple of times, I've actually had my brother on the show. His name is Mike Miltimore. You might remember him because he's got this endless energy that's kind of annoying. Well, today he's actually a co-host joining me all the way from a few cities over. Hello, Mike.
From 2 hours away in Kamloops. Hello, Trish. How are you doing?
I am good. I'm excited that you agreed, or kind of not really agreed, to be a co-host until I actually got you on the call. But I don't want you to think about it too much and put any kind of preparation in, because then you might look better than me. We can't have that. But
can't have that. No,
cannot have that. But I'm super excited to co-host, and for two reasons. One, that from the statistics and all the numbers behind the podcast, our episodes together are actually some of the most popular episodes in terms of downloads. So that's kind of mystifying and cool, don't you think?
that's all right. I wonder why. That's good. That's good though. I like that when that happens.
I know. I think so too. Anyway, and the second reason is because we do have, beyond the theme, which I'll introduce in just a moment, we do have something really important to talk about, something that's actually pretty big in your world, by default in my world as well. Do you want to share with everyone what has happened? The award it's exciting. Yeah,
it's exciting. Yeah, Monica, my wife, started working at the shop. Oh, that's not what you're talking about?
Yes, that's going to be for another episode, because I'm sure after a few months working with you directly, your relationship will change.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very interesting. I had my work wife, who Dawn, as you know, she was yelling at me from one side of the store, and my real wife was yelling at me from the other side of the store yesterday. So yesterday I was like, I don't know what I've done.
Well, they'll keep you in line, that's for sure. Keep you moving forward. It's
already better. Everything is better. It feels like the team is really unified right now. But back to your other thing, the big news, the exciting thing that's happened is, an overnight success of only 16 years, a guitar that I designed and built here was nominated for an award for Best Acoustic Guitar Worldwide from a magazine called Music Merchandise Review Magazine. And the Dealer's Choice Award, which is voted on by all the dealers and sales reps and music stores and that kind of thing, all in North America, and has been going on for 30 years. In fact, you may remember when we were young kids working in the music store, when the awards would come through and we'd all look at the magazines to see what brands we were carrying in our store that won. My brand, River Song Guitars, won, and we were shortlisted with some amazing companies, Martin, Taylor, Yamaha. We won Best Acoustic Guitar of the Year for 2022.
That is incredibly exciting. It's just amazing. It is. I know for anyone listening who, if you play guitar, maybe you know someone who plays guitar, you've probably heard of some of those other brands. And for River Song Guitars to be nominated, and of course at this point now have won, it is truly a testament, A, to your passion, be to your tenacity, and for the entire team, all that dedication. And I think it also speaks for the innovation in the product as well.
If we were doing something that was exactly the same as everybody else, I don't think we'd be in the same position. But because we decided to take that departure years ago and follow a weird little dream, different can be better.
Different can be better. Oh, I'm going to tweet that, Mike. That was a good one.
All right.
So I had a theme for the show because, one of the things that I know you bring to the table, and for anyone who's listening who has ever had a dream, ever had a vision, to create something that is better, that is perhaps even different, to leverage certain systems in place. Like we just actually, our last episode, I'm not sure if you heard it, I'm not sure if you listened, but it was featuring the Charity Hub, which is a company that actually takes excess inventory and then is able to create funds for, I'm doing it a disservice how I'm describing it, but listen to the last episode because it was so amazing about a company taking an unusual practice in an industry and leveraging it for good, right? So using business for good. And I know certainly at Riversong Guitars, you guys do that all the time as well. But what I love about what you bring to the table is that sense of innovation and the ability to use that innovation to create something better and different. The theme that I have for today, should I unveil it?
Let's hear it.
It is the purpose and the piss off of passion. And why I bring it up that way is because I feel like for many of us, our passion is a force that can create momentum, but it also at times can create drain. Can you relate to that in any possible way?
You know what, Trish, I totally can. The purpose of piss off and passion.
Okay, no, you didn't get that right. It was the purpose and the piss off of passion.
The purpose.
Can you say it? Can you do it?
The purpose and the piss off of passion.
Okay. I could have read it more confusing than the way I did, but I love that. You got it.
I get the intent. The intent is that we're going to be talking about basically when you're passionate about something, that's your purpose in life. That's what you're waking up and you're thinking about. You're going to bed, you're thinking about. You're dreaming about it. And that's everything that you're eating and breathing to try to make that goal of whatever your passion is happen. And the piss off is all those things that happen along the way that piss you off because your head's been so stuck in what you've been trying to do.
Yes.
And that could be missed family things. It could be when somebody's not jiving with what you're trying to lay down and you can't articulate in all the words what your passion is driving to, but you know what your end goal is. I can see that being a piss off. But yeah, I can totally relate to that.
I think some of the other ones are, you might, like you said, if someone's not jiving with you, you might feel a little disappointed that someone doesn't see your vision or isn't fueling it. I think there's a whole another podcast that we could have talking. Why are you laughing?
Do you remember Christmas years ago when I first started building guitars and everybody was like, you need to concentrate on your core business, audio visual in the music store. What do you do? What do you think you can do? Build a better guitar? And I brought for Christmas for Dad 3 guitar bodies that I experimented with, but I only had one neck. And my Christmas present to Dad was to build 3 different guitars and test the sound quality of them.
Mm-hmm. I do remember you carting those 3 guitars around. Yes.
And it went over. I thought it was going to be amazing. It was going to be like how I play Legos with your kids or something like that. But it was just super flat and everybody was kind of pissed off about it.
Well, I'm sorry you felt that way. I was busy cooking a turkey, so, but that's part of the piss off of passion. Yes.
You think this is what it's going to be. This is what your dream, you have your ideas that you've projected. And when things around you don't happen with what your projections, your ideas are, you get pissed off.
Yeah. It feels disappointing, doesn't it? It does in some ways. Yeah.
But this is part of the journey you have to go on, because you need to be able to go through those to be able to articulate what you're trying to do and to get other people on board. And when you're trying to talk about your product, if you can't explain it, or what you're trying to do, if you can't explain it in simple terms, this is good opportunities to learn how to do that.
It's all practice, right? It's all creating the puzzle pieces that over time, you start putting the puzzle together. At least that's how I see it. Yeah, so there's definitely some piss-offs of passion. I see passion, co-host, because thank you for asking. I see passion as...
Hey, Trish, how do you see passion and piss off?
Well, for me, I think passion is a really interesting term. So I think it's widely known that I may have mistakenly taken your original title of Passion Igniter by accident because I thought it was funny. But, once I buy the domain and I, start the website, it was kind of too far
Without telling me, you mean?
Yeah, too far gone to go back. Anyways, I truly feel bad about that. But it's interesting because over the many years that we've been talking about the whole idea of like Passion Igniter, which you are the original, of course, is that the word with passion has really changed and evolved for me over the years. When I was in my 20s, I felt very passionate about, I'm going to be a motivational speaker. I'm going to go out in the world and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And then as life beats you down and as you grow and expand and learn and, all those other things, you evolve. And so for passion for me now at this point, especially after 18 years of marriage, it really is, it's a source of energy, but it's fluctuating. I'm sure anyone who's an entrepreneur listening or someone who is a creative, which I think most people are, you get excited about something and there's a passion there. But what really is going to take that idea to another level is not passion. That's a short-term energy, in my opinion. It's consistency. It's intention. It's commitment.
Whoa! Did we just do that? I think we do. You've got that recorded, right? Like we said that at exactly the same time. That
totally recorded.
Wow.
But it's all those other things, and it's classic. I don't have a passion for getting up and working out. I have a commitment to doing it. So it's making a choice. I think one of the most powerful reads I have ever had in my life is a book all about discipline. And it's all they talked about was discipline and how really, truly any success in life or any kind of vision you want to create for yourself always comes down to discipline, which sounds no fun, but there is freedom in discipline. That's quite the thought. What do you think about that?
When you're building a guitar and you're passionate about building a new guitar, the first thing you do is you plan how you're going to build it and you have your timeline because it doesn't get built in a day. And if you rush it, you're going to end up with a rushed guitar. So I can see if I relate passion and what you're talking about being a short-term energy, that's where you get the ideas and you start writing them down and you start snowballing and really the fever of the get it done is going. And I do a lot of 3D modeling that way, but then you have to plan out how you're going to get that done. And that takes time. And that's where the commitment, that's where it takes, what was the word you used?
Discipline?
Discipline. Thank you. To make that happen because as you get closer, if I relate it to building guitars, and you're almost there, but you've ran out of one wood or one piece, or you broke a tool. If you don't have the discipline and the commitment to do it right and to try to follow through for your vision that you got from your passion, you're going to skip a step and you're going to wreck it. So the discipline is there saying, hey, I got to work out for 10 minutes a day to get to my end goal of at the end of the month to have this much more muscle or this much more strength or lose this much weight. So I think I understand what you're saying about the discipline and commitment. For sure.
And I find for me that there is freedom in discipline in that when I just choose and commit to doing something, I don't have to think about it anymore. There's like this gray area of should I, shouldn't I, Can I, what will other people think? The resistance, all that resistance in your
Yeah.
life for whatever kind of vision or goal you have, whether it's building a guitar or building a business or creating a platform business for good, is there's this resistance, the voices inside your mind. How do you quieten down those voices? Because, I think back to the many years we spent at the NAMM show. If anyone knows what the NAMM show is, it's North American Music Merchant Show. Did I get that right? Is that right?
National Association of Music Merchants.
Okay, whatever. And it's
I
this
think
huge
that one's right
show.
anyway. It's NAM.
It worked, right? NAMM, yeah. It's this huge, huge show. It's the biggest one in North America, isn't it?
Yeah, it could even be the biggest one in the world. It's an international trade show for music, and hundreds of thousands of people show up to exhibit. Hundreds of guitar companies show up to exhibit. There's the Hall of Tears in the basement, which is where all the ideas are born and destroyed. But it's an amazing show. Anyways, what were you going to say about the NAMM show?
Well, when I think back to the NAMM show, because I got to spend a lot of time with you there in River Song Guitars, is like your enthusiasm for showing up even in the very beginning and saying, "Oh, this is what we got. It's it's a brand new kind of technology innovation," and even when people. And I remember this even with our retail stores. I remember when we opened up in a city, there's always the naysayers, right? So the people come by the booth and you could just tell those who are jiving and those who are just judging. And how do you manage to maintain energy and perspective when I've seen it? You've actually faced a lot of judgment. What's your tip?
Well, I look at what shoes they're wearing. And if they're wooden shoes, I know there's no hope.
There's wooden shoes? Why?
If they're wearing wooden shoes.
Oh my gosh, I don't get it.
They're really old school. All right, Trish, great. All right, so how do I? You're gonna listen back and you're gonna go, "Oh, wooden shoes, I get it," because that's what everybody used to wear. So,
okay.
I'll underail us. Those times at the NAMM show when I was showing my guitars and really the energy of showing somebody something new they've never seen before and in a way that gets them excited, gets you excited. And those guys that don't jive on it, don't understand it. I have a saying that a no is an opportunity to earn a yes. And you have to earn it. You have to talk about it and say, hey, well, what problems have you had with your guitar? Oh, neck resets. Yeah, that's uncommon with a lot of guitars. When I designed this, I was looking at all the common issues, and this is why I did this. And that's sort of really, it's kind of like the sales guy in me. Easy sales aren't fun, or nearly as much fun as winning a sale because you've earned it. And for me, that's what I love about the NAMM show and just talking to people about what I'm into. It's interesting. We're looking for a new building to expand and grow our company into. And Monica, who's beside me on the couch when I'm coming up with harebrained ideas, she's a lot more conservative than I am. I'm not going to say she's a naysayer because she's not, but she's a little more concerned about if you get that size of mortgage, how are you going to pay that size? And how are you going to make this work? So what I do a lot is I do a lot of spreadsheets. And I try to look at every avenue. And I go for a walk down each path and try to see what it's going to be. It's like a game of chess where you try to play it out. And I ignore the major obstacles and thinking, what about, how is this going to work? What's this going to look like if everything lines up? Not if everything doesn't line up, but if everything does line up, what does this look like and how can this be? And is it good? And if it's great, then we start looking at some of those obstacles and try to overcome some of those obstacles. But I try to look for the good in it before I just try to figure out why it won't work.
And do you ever suffer from a little confirmation bias? I know this is a challenge for me when I'm trying to make decisions, whether it's in business, at home, is that I get kind of attached to the outcome I want to happen. And I start looking for evidence to support that versus, sometimes people might say something and I become a little defensive because that's not what I want. So how do you fight back that confirmation bias tendency?
I have decided that anytime that I say no or disagree too hard with anybody, I try to take a step back and not be confrontational and try to think about it more from their perspective, or really try to think about sort of what they're saying without being absolutely no to it. So I think I answered that. I don't know. I got a lot
It's a
of
tough
thoughts in
one.
my mind.
Yeah, and I think that what's part of the piss off of passion is that because you're passionate and so invested and excited about an idea,
You're kind
so
of
I'm speaking.
blind to the pitfalls. Is that sort of?
It's totally possible. So I think it's great
Mhm.
to have in your life a person who is like plays the devil advocate, who can actually ask you the questions, even if they 100% agree and want to support you, and they actually think it's maybe a good decision. Is they can
Mhm.
still, and I think Dad's good for that. Actually, you can ask other
Very good.
questions about other angles, and it forces you, like you were talking about earlier, to articulate why you're making that choice or why you want to go down that particular path.
Do you have any idea how many PowerPoint presentations I've done to baby step Dad through a decision because I don't want him rushing to the end?
You do PowerPoint
And
presentations? He sits there
I
and watches
have,
them?
I have, yeah, I have. It's, we were looking at one building, and basically, in a nutshell, I was trying to say, look, we're going to buy a 15,000 square foot building. We only need 10,000 square feet, and we can rent out two areas of 2,500 square feet and a back lot, and it's going to work out because it's going to offset all this. Blah. At the end of the day, it was going to be 10% more than what we're paying right now, and we've got 70% more space. But if I just told him straight up that, he would have shot it down without going through and seeing the actual benefits. So I baby stepped him through a whole spreadsheet, which I did screenshots of and did it on a PowerPoint.
Nice. Okay. Well,
Yeah,
that's
and I
good to
think he's
know.
on board now.
Oh, good job. Good PowerPoint job. So let's continue our conversation about the purpose and the piss off of passions. We definitely talked a little bit about the piss offs and how
Mm.
sometimes the passion can be a source of drain rather than driving, or it can be a form of resistance versus momentum. What about the purpose? How do you use passion in your life? And we got to keep it clean because, but how do you use passion in your life?
Well, I liked how you said that passion is a short-term energy, and not meant for consistent power through anything. And I,
Mhm.
I think when you're passionate about something, and it's such a catchphrase, but when you're passionate about something, that's all you think about. If you're into basketball and you just want to be a great basketball player, that's all you think about, and you think of new exercises that you're going to do, and you think of basketballs, and you hold on to one all the time, right? Um, and I think that's what passion is, and how you convert that into your purpose is uh, that's your conversion into trying to reach your goal. So I know that you had a passion. You had a few passions growing up, but the one that seemed to have stick the most. Well, actually, you know what? I was going to say you've got a very philanthropic viewpoint to the world. You want to help, and you want to create good, and you want to share with people. I think right from when you had us as the recycling family of the Okanagan, somehow that happened. To when you do things to try to help people, you did a drive once, and correct me if I'm wrong, where you did a sock drive. For people that didn't have any homes, you heard that one thing that they were lacking was socks. Um,
Huh.
Didn't you? Oh, she says, yeah, I'm sure you did that when you first moved to Kelowna.
I think I did. I actually interviewed for a project for a presentation.
Mhm.
Some people, people who were living on the streets in Kelowna. And it was
Hmm.
one of the most eye-opening interview series I've ever done.
It
And
was right at that time. I remember you doing that.
that's probably why I was inspired to do it. I'm so glad that you have lived alongside me to remind me of things, because I don't remember anything. The stories you share, I'm like, I don't remember. Are you sure that's what happened? But yeah, I just want to make a quick point about that. That was a really cool time, interviewing those really beautiful humans who are so easily judged and cast aside. And there was this one gentleman, and he said to me that no one will ever be able to take away his sense of pride. That's something he owns, and no one can take it. And here's a man who's living on the streets. He had a wife and a family. Substance abuse took over, and that now he finds himself without a home. But the way he said it, he was full of pride for that. And it taught me so much about judgment and how we think of other people. And he had this really kind of overwhelming smell of aftershave. I kind of liked it, actually. It was a really nice smell. But he just took such pride in that. And I think that for me, it was a big lesson that no matter what life throws at you, you have to choose what you will not relinquish. So if you're listening and you're going through a really hard time right now, what are you going to choose to not relinquish in your life? What is it that is part of you that no one can take? And that's like a source of power. And I think passion could be a part of that, right? It's a part of what the passion and purpose. For me, passion is short term, but purpose is something that is like an ongoing stream through us. And then throughout life, we find different passions that kind of play into our sense of purpose. Because like you said, I have a sense of purpose of doing things in the world, using my talents and skills to help try, even in a small little way, to make it a little bit better. So like podcasting,
Right.
the skills and talents that I have, but and you have your I see you as an innovator. And what's it called when people create things? Oh my gosh, why can't I think of the word?
Inventor.
Yes. That's the word. But everyone has like a little something that is unique to them, that they own, that they can bring to the table. So I believe everyone's creative, and everyone has a capacity to look at what they're doing and to follow that little voice. And I don't know about you, but I have this little voice in my head all the time that is driving me or guiding me towards things that I think will be are a good idea. And sometimes I think, am I being tricked? Is it the shiny object syndrome? Because people talk about that all the time, especially as entrepreneurs, the shiny object syndrome, getting derailed. And I think there's a time and place to really think about if you are being derailed, and you're not focusing, and there's all kinds of strategy around that. But I also feel that a lot of the times you're called to try things and do things, even if you don't follow through and you don't become a master at it, it becomes another piece of your puzzle pie or your puzzle. So
Yeah.
I just never feel like that's a waste of time. Have you ever had, like, I can give you some examples in my own life, but how about for yourself that you tried something different, a passion of some sort, that it has now actually benefited or contributed to where you are at now, even though at the time you thought maybe it was kind of going off the tracks?
Yeah. You know what? Way back when, in 1994 and 5, I did something. I went to electronic engineering technology school.
Ooh.
And I realized after going through that for a while that that's not exactly where I wanted to end up. I was following the path that Dad took, and I realized that I like the knowledge, I like what we're doing, but I think I want to do something different. I wanted to be an audio engineer. So that's when I left and I moved to Kamloops and opened up the music store and the audiovisual company. But fast forward 30 years. Oh, geez.
You're getting old.
Fast forward. I found myself designing and building and prototyping an electronic circuit for my guitars. And now, with help from real engineers and guys that have amazing experience, that original design that I did has come out, and we've got a world-class pickup system for our guitars. So that was something that I started and realized, not exactly for me, but I really benefited from later on.
You know what I find so annoying about you is that all those years growing up, all those years, you were the one that had to have the big conversation with mom and dad to pull up your socks. Cause, so I took real pride in thinking I was the smart one. Like, yeah, I'm the good one. I'm the smart one. There's just, and for anyone listening, it's just Mike and I were just one brother, one sister.
Yeah, I'm
All
glad.
these
I'm glad you weren't my older sister.
When people ask me who's older, it actually super offends me. But anyways, yeah, all those years, like you got all the talkings to because I think school bored you or something. Because now I feel like you can do math that I can't even imagine. You're very intelligent, but growing up wouldn't have known it because you didn't do well in school at all.
You know what? I think one of the things that happens when you're excited about something is you want to learn more about it. You want to learn everything
Yeah.
about it. When you Google something, you go in deep. Like you're looking up something and you it used to be funny. You'd go to Wikipedia and you'd click on all the links to all the things that you're interested in. And next thing you know, you're researching different types of magnets for guitar pickups, and you're deep in. And if you're interested in that, that's where you go. And sometimes I think I struggled with finding the interest level of why I need to know geography if I'm not interested in traveling anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember Mr. Scales, by the way, if you're listening by any chance, I am so sorry. You're probably why I'm probably why you retired early. But I want you to know that I wish I paid more attention in your socials class, which is geography, because now that I travel all over the place, I am gaining that knowledge, but I wish I had it when I started. There, I said it.
Yeah. You've really helped Mr. Scales out because you sure frustrated him. I heard all about it. That is true though. Yeah, when you're then there's a purpose of passion right there. When you're very interested in something, you're just naturally going to go and research it, investigate it. So I think people need to be open a little more to follow those nudges. Like if you have an interest in something, read about it and take that little step out of your comfort zone to give it a try, to just have a little fun with it, because you just never know where that nudge is going to take you.
What drove you when you were a preteen to make cookies without eggs?
I don't remember doing that.
Or you started making like all good for you cookies with mayonnaise and alternate. You were experimenting with all those different. Oh. Remember, you made cookies that were like micro thin.
I was trying to make the most
chewy, but they were really good.
I wanted to make the healthiest cookies because I love baking, but I also am very interested and passionate about nutrition. So I wanted to make the healthiest possible cookies I possibly could. And I actually had a little name for my bakery. It was called Num Num Bakery.
Oh.
I thought that was clever. And I would ask people to try them. And apparently they're not very good.
I like them.
Thank you. I thought they were so high in fiber. Anyways, yeah. So you're right though. Like I liked nutrition. I was super interested in nutrition. I actually took, I don't know if you remember this. I dragged mom and my second born when she was like 6 months old down to the States for some training on Dr. Sears, because Dr. Sears is a pediatrician and he's got a little empire, I think more in the States. And my firstborn was such a bad sleeper and she was so traumatic as a baby for me that I ended up reading his book at one point. And he so inspired me that I started researching, Googling, getting to know Dr. Sears. And then it turned out he had a nutrition program. So then, ding, 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 Tricia loves nutrition. So I dragged mom to Seattle for this 4-day training on nutrition.
Oh.
Which I have done nothing with, but it was a big learning experience. And I actually do sometimes pull that nutrition and health and wellness side of things into my own coaching practice. So,
well, here's the interesting thing. Yeah. What do you think that had for impact on your life since then that you've put in every day, that you that you don't even think about. You subconsciously do. I'll give you one quick example. As a sound engineer, when I'm plugging in a speaker cable, the older style speaker cables that are 1/4 inch like a guitar jack, when I plug it in, I turn the jacket of it to tighten it up because I don't want it to rattle loose and short itself out while the speaker's vibrating and making sound. And I've just learned to do that because I've had a few failures. With that knowledge you had from Dr. Sears, what do you do in your daily life that you don't even realize that you're doing? Have you thought about that?
Oh, I've never thought about that. The biggest lesson I learned with sugar was how much sugar we're consuming. So I probably daily eat less sugar because of their very dramatic examples, but not nearly as exciting as you're plugging something into the back of a speaker and whatever you're talking about. You're kind of geeky about that stuff. I don't know. I
got a better one for you.
Okay.
When you eat raspberries,
Uh-huh.
Explain to me the process when you eat a raspberry.
Well, I pick it up and I make sure that there's no crawling bugs inside.
Yeah, and how do you do that?
I look at it. Sometimes I will blow into it.
Okay, stop there. You blow into your raspberry.
Yes, because if there's a bug in there, you can blow it out.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, stop. The reason why you blow into raspberries is because our mother told us to blow in the raspberries to make sure there's no bugs inside. But we just plugged it off of the vine. There's no bugs in it because it's just came straight off. And the reason I phoned her and asked her a few years ago, the reason she told us to blow into it was because we were little piggies and we were eating them too fast. And it's the only way she could get us to slow down.
This is crazy. Are you serious? All these years of me blowing into stupid raspberries is just to slow my piggish eating down?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you're here to help me.
In the subconscious, you've got all these things going on. And I think when you're bring us back to passion and purpose and everything and why you fail or when failures can add to it is they're all living in your subconscious. You've gone and you've done something with cookies and high fiber and nutritional, less sugar. That plays into what you're doing today. For me, it could have been something of learning how to do a finishing step way back when on a piece of metal that I'm applying to on wood for guitars. And that's in my subconscious, and I'm able to use that as part of what I'm doing moving forward. So all of these different experiences add up and grow together to really add to that purpose and allow you to funnel everything that you've known into what you're doing today.
I love that. That's a really good point. And I'm still surprised that the reason why I blow into raspberries is because of mom. But, on that note, before we kind of wrap things up, we should do a rapid fire question session at the end for you, since you're the co-host and everything,
Okay.
Kind of fun.
Yeah.
I don't know what we're going to ask, but that'll be fun. Okay. So,
Nothing like putting me on the spot. Okay.
I know, right? But with what you just said, it reminds me of the many conversations I've had with clients in my coaching practice. People say, well, who am I to open that business? Or, I work with a lot of individuals who want to become speakers or thought leaders and to really own their kind of ideas and their energy. And the big conversation we often have is that no one can do what you want to do in the way that you can because of all those experiences that add up to you. They add up to how you think, how you subconsciously think, like you're mentioning. They add up to your energy, your humor, your background, everything. So if anyone's listening and is like, well, who am I to think that I can create that kind of impact or that I can take my passion and make a living out of it, start that business, please remember that the energy you bring to the table and the lived experiences is truly unique. And that makes you different right there.
You know what I like about that, Trish, too, is that whether you've chatted with a homeless person and realized that they don't have socks, your tool to help people could be getting socks. That's not a difficult thing to do. They're not expensive. You just got to rally people around what you're doing. so to that, I really think that your tool to enact good or to create what you want to do, mine is guitars.
Mm-hmm.
I realized that this year that I can help people with guitars and ukuleles. And what we did was we started to lend them out for free. What kind of business is that? That doesn't make any sense. We lend them out through the library in our region. They've got 60 instruments, and they're being lent out for 6 weeks at a time for people to try out, have access to quality instruments, and learn music, because music is healing. That's my tool and what I can do to help people. It's not, some people it's money, some people it's their time. For you, it's your thoughts and ideas and coaching and being able to really help people narrow that down. But anybody has worth, and they just got to figure out what their tool is, whether it's making high fiber cookies or writing a story. Right?
Yeah, it is true. I think we had a pretty good on-theme conversation. I hope that there were some nuggets that people can take away. But let's do a rapid fire session.
Okay, Oreo or chocolate chip?
Is this home baked?
No, it was just
Oreo.
Okay, all right.
Now it's my turn. Is this how it works?
I don't know. I've never done a rapid fire question.
I haven't either. Not really. Okay. Okay. I don't really know how to do a rapid fire. I need to prepare some more. I'm sorry. I take this whole idea back. I take it back. Tell me your favorite book that you've read in the last 6 months. I always like to ask people.
So I read some books, but I usually listen to audiobooks, and I've been re-listening to Think and Grow Rich recently.
Ooh,
and it's an old book. Basically, it was done up for the guy to follow Thomas Edison around, to follow those guys, those giant heads at that period of time as to what makes them successful. And it's a really, it's an older book, but a really good fundamental book. So that's what I've been reading a lot. How about you?
Right now, I listen to Audible books. Got the 4 kids. It's just impossible for me sometimes to sit down with a book. But right now, I am fully entrenched in The War of Art with Stephen Pressfield. Have you ever heard of that?
I have heard of that. And I actually started that. But I haven't. Remind me again. What do you like about it?
It's about resistance, right? Resistance for any kind of ideas and what stops us from moving forward as artists, as creatives, as people in general. I think it can be absolutely blanketed to anyone at any point of their lives of trying to create betterment for themselves. So it's The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. Highly recommend it. It's like he literally is talking to my own brain. And I think it's actually quite phenomenal. So I highly recommend it. I'm also reading right now from, oh my gosh, it must be Friday that we're recording this, because Tom Watson, we were just talking about Tom Watson.
Yeah, what a great guy.
Shared the stage at the LEAP conference where you and I both worked at. Tom Watson wrote a book called Man Shoes, and it is truly heartfelt. It's not a long read, but it's just so many beautiful moments in there about what really matters in life. And I think as we go through life and we have this passion and the sense of purpose, because I know many people listening have a real deep sense of purpose to make a difference, that can be a weight on your shoulders. And he helps to really put it into perspective of what really matters. And, if we're making choices for what matters most in our life, we're going to be on the path that is most fulfilling. So definitely highly recommend that. It's called Man Shoes by Tom Watson as well.
Okay. What is your best number one thing you do in the morning to get your head straight and ready in the game?
Okay. I'm glad you asked, Mike. I don't know if you know this. You probably don't. I don't think we've ever talked about this, but
no, this is a rapid fire question.
Rapid fire. Okay. I'll try to do a rapid fire answer. For many years, I would get up and, I kind of go up and down. A lot of my world changes as my kids age and circumstances change. But right now, for the last little bit, because I don't have any time alone, truly, just the nature of, the 5-year-old wants to sleep with me and all this stuff. I wake up early to go downstairs to make myself a cup of tea, and I make myself 2 eggs, and I watch Netflix.
Okay.
I do. Yeah, because you know what? That fulfills me right now. Let me tell you, I need that 45 minutes. There was, many, many months where I would write. There was many months where I'd wake up and work out. But at this moment in time, it's many months of just waking up and having 45 minutes to myself. How about you?
My morning routine is Monica usually gets up before me, but I still somehow wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning. I don't know how that happened. And I make myself a hazelnut coffee, and I put in chocolate almond milk into it. And the smell of the hazelnut coffee and the taste of it combined with the chocolate almond milk, I sit there and spend quality time watching global news with Monica and answering emails. This morning, I programmed a guitar neck, and I find that really calming, and just to be kind of in the zone right there with my hazelnut coffee.
Wow, that is so geeky. I programmed a guitar. I don't know what that means, but that's cool. I got one for you. And this will be our final one. What is the best wisdom that you've ever received or that you live by?
Well, I've gotten many wisdom things. The first one that came to mind was I did a big, huge sound system for a Bantai, not castle, but a big Bantai. Anyways, it was a building, and none of the walls were even, and that doesn't really matter. It was at the Echo Valley Ranch, and the guy that owned the ranch and built this Bantai Palace. I asked him, he had been successful in inventing and patenting things for the saw mills and that kind of a thing. And his advice was, once you reduce the variables to the simplest state, you have your core invention. So whatever you're working on, reduce the variables. And I've taken that from literally inventing things to life, just reducing things down to the variables that matter and try to navigate through that.
Huh. That's really good. Okay.
How about you?
For me, and I've been connected to this for many years, I teach it, I live it, I breathe it, I got a passion for it, is this one truth for myself. And that is, life doesn't have to be so hard. Yeah. And often I make it harder than it needs to be. So it's kind of similar to yours, where I'm consistently looking at the choices I make, how I live, and I'm like, what really matters and what actually needs to get done. And, I don't know, all those kind of things. But, whenever I get stressed out about something, I'm like, life doesn't have to be so hard. And it truly changes how I approach things and the energy that I experience them with. And I think my mood as well. That's pretty good. That matters. Yeah. Okay. That's some good wisdom. Okay. Well, you know what? Thanks for being on the show. Thank you for being a co-host. I hope it was fun.
It was really great. I didn't know I was being a co-host until tonight. So I think we should do this again.
Yeah, I think we will for sure later on. And this is the first episode of 2023. There are some changes coming to Passion for Impact forecasted here in February, March, but I'll be sharing some of those details coming up in February, looking at actually some pretty big changes around here, but I'll share those a little bit later on. So I'm just teasing it for now. And with that, I hope everyone has a great, fantastic, rockin' beginning to their 2023. And thanks again, Mike, for joining me. It was a good time for sure.
Yeah, for sure, Trish. Okay, I'm going to go make some cookies.
Passion for Impact is sponsored by the Inspire Store. Need a gift that inspires? Inspire Store features exclusive ethically made goods and jewelry that embodies these 3 words. Yes, you can. Every purchase supports Food Banks Canada. Plus, you will receive Tricia Miltimore's popular personal development Shift Up e-course. Empowerment awaits you. Shop with impact at inspirestore.org.
If you love learning how to live and lead in a caring and fulfilling way, and you find this show inspiring, please share with your friends, rate and review this podcast. Passion for Impact, it's brought to you by Rock Your Leadership, We train leaders on how to grow success, drive change, and not burn out. Visit passionigniter.ca for more details. Thanks for listening.
Thank you for listening to the Passion for Impact podcast. Visit passionigniter.ca/podcast to subscribe for episode notes, links, and special offers from show guests. Cast your vote. Make your impact, one socially conscious choice at a time.